Hey everyone, hope you're doing okay today. Welcome to day 20 on Talk 10 for 30. And just a little bit of a mishap this weekend. Technically, I was out of town. If you caught my video on day 19, I was out of town, so I recorded it a little bit different than I normally do. So it was just the video wasn't it wasn't loading, and so I'm learning here as I navigate the online world, and my technical abilities, I would say, are average. So I'm learning lots. So I uploaded day 19 today, so I figured it out. So now I know, right? When you know, you know. But that's why it wasn't uploaded yesterday. I recorded yesterday, but I couldn't figure it out for the life of me. But that's part of that, right? You don't give up. It was a little frustrating. I was kind of bummed out for a second and saying, like, I committed, and then I quieted that head chatter, and I said, you know what? I did the video. I am learning. I don't know even close to everything about the online world here, and having a practice on this platform. So bear with me as I learn and navigate myself. But I am home from my beautiful weekends with amazing friends and family, and it was much needed. And it's a little bit late now that I'm recording. I'm going to be recording a little bit later today, but that's okay. It's all good. It's the way it was. It's in flow. We're December. It's busy. A lot of get-togethers and planning, and December is quite busy for us. So where people are visiting us, we're people visiting people. So, we're pretty grateful for that. We have a lot of good people around us. And so that's something that I cherish for sure. But speaking of people in your life, I mean, if you think about even the last 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, people come and go in your life. Okay. Relationships change, your environment changes, jobs change, your interests change. But I was just reflecting on this today, actually. And I mean, within the last even 10 years, let's say 10, 15 years, I mean, we've been pretty, like, sure, like, there's the having kids, getting a career, doing the things, right? Getting married, buying a house, just those life milestones that were of interest to me and my husband, and where we're at with that. And it's been in flow. Nothing too much has changed. But I think back within the last 2-3 years, and there's been quite a drastic shift in people in my life. And I'm hearing this across the board through clients, friends, family, and by all means, it's not a bad thing. It's just, it's kind of like it's on fast forward. There's a lot of things that have happened within the last couple of years that really, initiates that. It really just pushes us to think about ourselves and the relationships that we have, and then kind of doing that self inventory. I feel like and people that I know, people that you know, they are changing. Their beliefs are changing, relationships are changing. There's been a lot of divorce and separation, but of course, getting together as well and new relationships. There's just been quite the shift, I feel, in many, and we need this recycling per se of relationships. We need this recycling of environments and what our interests are in our careers and such. But it's not easy. It depends on what your beliefs are around change. Many people are uncomfortable with it. But I think if we kind of take a minute and step back and say, my relationship with change is a good one. I do know that change is the one constant in everybody's life. Yes, it's a little bit more frequent these days. It's kind of in your face. I mean, you get change every couple times a year, every few years or whatever, but I feel like change is happening every couple weeks to couple months at this point. But it's fast. We're kind of speeding up, right? But if you kind of sit back and look at it, and I talked about gratitude yesterday, and if you change that head chatter and what you tell yourself about change, about the people, especially with people that you surround yourself with, and I'm talking about kids, your loved ones, and being able, because they're changing too. They're shifting as well. Sometimes that's quite uncomfortable. But I think that if we can, before judging and before making assumptions and before coming to conclusions, if we can even just say change is inevitable and my relationship with it is one that that I'm accepting today. I'm accepting my relationship with change. And it's an opportunity again. So if the ones around you are changing, you're changing, that's your opportunity to tap into what you may need to learn. Like I talked about earlier about me in this new tech world, I don't know everything. So once we're in confusion, once we are trying to kind of troubleshoot around, try and troubleshoot around the technology, but this is very much the same thing of trying to troubleshoot even relationships. And although that change doesn't feel good in the moment, if we can even save space for our friends and family and loved ones, and even ask if you're confused about some change, even ask questions. Remember what I said, if you've been following, is fear, anger, that anxiety, many times, a lot of times, if you really look at the root of what you're fearing or what is bringing up that anger or that anxiety, it typically comes from a place of not knowing something. So ask questions, seek clarity. You don't have all the answers. So when we are presented with somebody coming up and changing their mind or changing their belief or there's a lot of that going on right now. Being able to say, I don't understand it. Can you teach me? Can you show me? I think that is going to not only give you some information, but the other person is going to feel heard. You may not agree with what they're saying, by all means. That's not what this is about, but at least you're going to get some info. And then you're going to be able to decide whether you want to continue to partake in the relationship or not. Ultimately the decision comes down to you. But sometimes we jump the gun because sometimes this change is so drastic that we fear it. We fear it. And so we flight. And I'm encouraging you to sit with this change. And before making those judgments and projecting, and not even projecting, but it's confusing. And there's a lot of different beliefs right now. There's a lot of different ideations that are coming in right now, a lot of different views. So if we can create space for that and say, teach me something about it, see what happens. At least you've got that information. So if you do decide that, you know what, I need to clean up this relationship, it's kind of doing that inventory of your relationships. Are you happy in your environment? Are you happy with your purpose? Being able to say, okay, I've gotten this information now. I've saved space. I know, however, I still, disagree, and I don't feel aligned with this relationship anymore. And you will be able to determine what boundaries you need to set and what that looks like for you. But ask questions is really what this looks like. And then decide what needs to be cleaned up emotionally and physically. It's kind of doing your spring cleaning, or do some spring cleaning or winter cleaning at this point on your life. And, with that spring cleaning, though, comes bringing the person, the situation up and analyzing whether there is value in that anymore. And if you are growing together still, and you're still teaching each other as you're evolving, as you're kind of fast forwarding into this life, and if you are growing together, that's a good sign. That's a good sign that you're aligned. You don't have to agree on anything. By all means, my goodness, we need to have the best conversations come out of that. But if your relationships are motivating you to ask questions, if they're teaching you something, if you're eager and inspired to look at yourself and what your purpose is, that's a really good sign. If you are growing, if you are moving forward and evolving in your life, excuse me, try. I don't even have my water by me. It's a good sign that you've got a good partner, or you're in the right relationship. You're good together. Evolving together is a good thing. So I'll leave you with that. I'll leave you with what needs to be cleaned up in your life. Kind of do some inventory. That's it's more of a life inventory. And if you're confused in an area, start asking some questions. You'd be surprised what you find out. You'd be surprised that the relationships may actually get closer. Okay, person feels heard. And the worst that can happen is that you get some insight. All right. And that ignorance kind of fades away a little bit. I mean, you're able to base your decision on what you know, and what you've been told, and what you've learned. All right. So I'm going to leave you with that on day 20 here. And I'm gonna go to bed. It was such a great weekend, and we were up late and playing cards, and but I'm tired, very tired. I'm gonna sneak in, maybe take a nice bath, quiet, kids are sleeping, and I'm gonna get into bed really It's a little bit, it's 8:30 now, and I will be sleeping before 9 o'clock tonight. All right. I hope you have a good evening, a good morning, a good afternoon, whenever you're watching this. And remember to follow yourself always. Always follow yourself first. Sending all the light, all the love. Bye for now.